for 4 hours. You get 40% discount on all the items in the stores. Even if you have had only one dose, you already qualify for the discount. So don't forget, get ready. Bring your vaccination card. October 16, 2 to 6 p.m. in all the RJ Guitar Center stores. 40% off on all the items. Except Taylor guitars. 10% off. For any questions, call or text our hotline 0977-812-1186 or visit www.rjcenter.com.
For DTI Fair Trade Permit number FTEB-127314, Series of 2021.
You are watching the multi-awarded Radio Bandido TV on Channel 224 Sky Cable and TV Plus boxes. Simulcast on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Informing, advising, and entertaining the Filipinos and OFWs around the world. Streaming live on www.facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. or on YouTube, channel RJAM News. To all Teleradio Bandido viewers and listeners, you can now watch Teleradio Bandido on our new YouTube channel, RJAM News. Hit the subscribe button and like the video. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified when a new video gets uploaded. Don't miss out on our dynamite lineup.
Hello and welcome to the World News Jam right here on DZRJ and RJ TV. My name is Eric Lecain and I am joined as always with the lovely Lolly Tolentino. We are here on DZRJ on the radio and RJ TV channel 224 on Sky Cable. And we are on Facebook and we were on YouTube and TV Plus boxes. You know, Lolly Tolentino, let me ask you something because we are on Facebook, but where were you when Facebook went down, and did you survive the outage of Facebook?
Well, I did. You know why? Because I was sleeping.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I was the only one that was up at 2 a.m. because I was up at 2 a.m. like for whatever reason, trying to get on Facebook. I'm like, why can't I get on Facebook? And I'm like, did somebody steal my account? Did somebody hack me finally? And then I'm like, blah, blah, can't. So I went to Google and I said, what's wrong with Facebook? And then they said, oh, there's some kind of outage going on. So,
yes.
And then I woke up the next day and found out that it was a worldwide outage that Facebook went down. You know, isn't it interesting? If Facebook went down, could the world survive it? Or the
maybe
question,
not for a long time. I don't know, really. But because everybody's into Facebook or WhatsApp and all this social media.
Yeah, I mean,
Eric, how will I get in touch with you if we are not in Facebook?
I know. I don't know anybody's telephone number anymore. I mean,
exactly.
before when I was young, we had everybody's telephone number memorized. And then when I got older, you just had their phone number stored in your phone. And now we don't even use telephone anymore because we just use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
And so I would lose so many friends because I wouldn't know how to contact them anymore.
Yeah.
Because of the pandemic, I don't know where anybody lives. I don't go to anybody's house. So yeah, It would be something if Facebook went away. I mean, some people think that we would be better off if Facebook disappeared, but anyway. So it's interesting that they, when Facebook went down, they tried to fix it. They were just going to reboot the system. The good old, when you have a problem, whatever, you just pull the plug out and just plug it back in, and then it sort of works. And they went to try and reboot it, but they couldn't get into the server building because their badges didn't work anymore because Facebook was down.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The only reason, when I get up in the morning, I check it. It's not really working. And then I saw somebody put a, in Viber, and they said, oh, did you notice that Facebook and WhatsApp are down? And I said, okay, let me check switch. That's why I found out. But later on, maybe about half an hour, went back. So I was able to communicate again through Facebook and WhatsApp.
Yeah. I mean, it was, It was really something. The fact that I don't know what the exact number is, but Facebook was losing millions and millions of dollars by the second. And because this happened during the day in the United States, it was actually middle of the night here. But the only people that are up at middle of the night are people like me. But yeah, so Facebook has gotten a ton of bad press. We'll get into more about Facebook later. But let me just say, the Philippines itself has had, it has its share of bad press. I got to say, we've talked about this before. I mean, they made, the list for the worst, place for murder with impunity, the worst in the pandemic, the worst for journalists, worst in traffic, political leaders stealing the most money. Even, the national women's volleyball team this week at the Asia Club Championships came in dead last. And by the way, just between you and me, it was not the fault of the players. But anyway, so the Philippines has had, on the international scene, they do get a lot of bad press. But this week, the Philippines came in first place at something. The very first Filipino won the Nobel Peace Prize. And and it was for journalism, no doubt. So this is the first time a Filipino has ever won such a prize. And it went to Maria Ressa for her work on Duterte's murderous anti-drug campaign and the weaponization of social media to spread fake news and harass political opponents and manipulate public discourse. Anyway, that's the thing that got her the Nobel Peace Prize for a Filipino, which now puts her in the club with who? Obama, Al Gore, Jimmy Carter, Nelson Mandela, Mikhail Gorbachev, the Dalai Lama. So she's in that club now.
Okay, you know what? There's so many negative things about that, award actually. In the Philippines, talking to a lot of friends over here, they're not in favor of that. Well, she got it, but no matter what, they know that there are something that those people from the Nobel Prize doesn't know about her. The only thing that they know are the things that they read on the paper and all that, but they don't know really who she is. And, those are the comments of the people over here. So some, of course, Filipinos should be proud. There's a Filipino, but then, what, if you look, that's why they say, that's why I don't believe sometimes in this kind of prize, Nobel Prize or any award giving body, because we don't know if they're real.
Well, okay, we're not talking about beauty contest, the Filipino beauty contest, where if you pay money to rent a table, you get to be in the beauty contest and win an award. No, it's not that kind of thing. But when people say, because I have to say, Lali Tolentino, that when she won the award, anything that happens in the international scene, this is what our show is about. Anything that happens in the Philippines in the international scene, we talk about it here on the show. And so when she won that award, first thing I had to do was make sure it wasn't fake news, which it was not, and to look at what Filipinos were saying. And a lot of Filipinos are not overjoyed about this. And I'm not talking about public figures. I'm talking about people in the public. I read somebody comparing the fact, well, Dinoy had 0 Nobel Peace Prizes in his administration, but look, Duterte now has 1, which is kind of true. However, the reason that she won this award is because of the killings during the drug campaign. And, part of the other reason that she won this award, I believe, is because Duterte went after her. If he had not gone after her the way he did, then would she have ever, if Duterte had not confessed to her that he killed people, and tried to revoke her license, if he had not tried to punish her through using the cybercrime law, if he had not gotten so much condemnation from the international community for what he tried to do to her, would she have ever won this award? So yeah, I guess in some respects it is Duterte's fault that she won the award. But when you said just now, well, there's things that we know about her, and now we can't believe that. What things are there about her that I don't know, because what I know about her is what I read. And I didn't know much about her until Duterte, started going after her. And then we started talking about her on the show. Because, the times I had seen her before, I'm like, who is this woman? She doesn't really wear a lot of eyeliner. And then I heard her speak. And then when I heard her speak, I'm like, okay, this is why this woman is quasi-famous, because she is very, very, very intelligent. And you can't take that from her. When she opens her mouth, I mean, she says, you know, she's very, very good at speaking, especially on a high level of what she's doing. So what is it about her that people do not like? What is this secret thing that none of the international people know about her that Filipinos only know?
I cannot say what it is because the people that I talk about this issue are those people. I told them, okay, why don't you just ask it in our show? And now we're talking about it, and they don't want to. Said, no, we don't want to give her that privilege to be talked about. I mean, because in the first place, she's already an American citizen.
She won the Nobel Peace Prize.
An American citizen. Yeah, I mean, he will hear a lot of comments about anybody for that matter. So whether it's true or not, it all depends on the people who are watching and listening.
I just can't, this is something that bugs me sometimes in the Philippines. It's like, yes, we know all about her. She's no good, but we can't tell you what those things are. I'm like, why not? I mean, it's the same thing with some of the political people here. It's like, well, we know that he's innocent of this, but we can't tell you why. And I'm like, why not? Why don't you just tell me? Why don't you just say why? Because in the international community, it looks the opposite of what you're saying. And so, she did some very, very good articles about what was happening in the Philippines. And for that, she won the Nobel Peace Prize. And people are saying, what is it what did she do? What did she do that was so bad? Are we going, can we talk about tax evasion? What are these things that they tried to get her, on her, which may be true, but they seem like two different things. And a lot of times, I have to say from talking about, we've talked about Duterte in the past, when somebody says something bad about him, he finds something that maybe not even related to anything, and he goes after him. And that's part of the reason I think that she won the award.
Well, whatever may be the reason why they gave the award.
I mean, do you see the reason why she won the award? I mean, the journalism that she did on the Duterte Anti-Drug Award was very, very good. I mean, and the things that she did on cyberbullying and all these kind of other things, I mean, it was very well done. So a lot of journalists do a lot of very good things. They do a lot of very good stories, a lot of great things. But to win the Nobel Peace Prize is something just, out of the stratosphere. So, I mean, is all her work bad in your eyes?
For me, you know what? I don't want to say, because I don't want to be bashed by people, but I know some people deserve an award.
Yeah, I mean, we're just discussing it.
I don't want to discuss about this because this is not something that I'm proud of.
All right. So anyway, this is part of why I brought it up, because I was surprised because, like I said, the Philippines has been getting a lot of bad press in the international scene. I mean, they keep winning the worst of many things, and then finally they win something, and then still nobody's happy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know why, and no one will tell me.
I don't know. But it's their opinion that I have to respect. Whether they like her or not, it's up to the listening public or people who are watching us. If she deserved the award, well, she got it, of course. It's already with her, so nobody can take that away from her. But the reason behind, because she wrote, whatever she wrote on the paper, or because they say, not all the things that she wrote are true. That's why, even
what?
The businessman
this is what I want to know. Like what?
She, because of the reporting, I don't know. That's a long story. I don't want to discuss this on the show because we have a lot of questions to discuss, Eric.
We always do. We have lots of questions.
We have more worth, discussing issues.
Well, and you know what? I didn't even mention the fact that Monday was National Taco Day. I just threw that out there that nobody remember that Monday was National Taco Day and National Cinnamon Roll Day. Not to change the subject, but I'm just pointing it out that we didn't get to that, but that's some big news that happened this week. So Lolly Tolentino, it seems like I am not going to get the answers that I'm looking for. So instead of that, let's move on to the questions, because here on our show, Lolly Tolentino, we let the people, the listeners, ask the questions, and then we discuss what they're interested in. And so, Lolly, you have a long list of questions, and I have already wasted a lot of time here talking about cinnamon rolls and tacos. So please, what is our What is our first
Take me
question?
to tacos and cinnamon roll place.
I know. I wish I had have known after the fact, or I would have had a taco with a cinnamon roll on Monday, but I didn't because my Facebook was out. Anyway, that's my complaint there. So, Lolly, what is our first question of this week?
All right, the very first question of the week. This is very interesting. I think a lot of people knows, but they want more infos about this. From Miguel of Alabang, China sent 56 warplanes in defense zone of Taiwan. What's the latest update? Are they ready to start a war?
All right. Isn't this? China sees Taiwan as basically a breakaway province. It's part of their country. And if it doesn't want to be a part of their country, too freaking bad. Because China has said multiple times that it will take Taiwan by force if it needs to. So when China sent 56 warplanes into Taiwan airspace, what do you think Taiwan thought? I mean, if it looks like an invasion and it smells like an invasion, all right. Anyway, China's not invading Taiwan, but that's what it looks like. So if they invaded Taiwan right now, it would cause too many problems for China because China's not ready to go up against Taiwan's friends. But this constant jet buzzing, where they fly the planes right up to the border, it's making Taiwan nervous. And every time they fly one of these planes, the Taiwan's got to send their planes up. And, I think it was the defense minister, the defense minister came out and said that he believes that China is preparing for something and that they could mount a full-scale invasion by 2025. So, President Biden talked to Xi about this, and he says, okay, the United States is going to stand by your China One policy. However, we need you to abide by that policy, but nothing more. Like, quit flying planes over Taiwan. He didn't say what the U.S. was going to do if China went too far, but he did say that the U.S. is not going to mess around. So, China's building up. They built up the biggest navy in the world now, and they got aircraft carriers and submarines and destroyers, and they sent 600 warplanes to Taiwan so far this year. So, and here's the other thing. I mean, one of the things the defense minister is afraid of is all these planes buzzing around. What if somebody has a misunderstanding?
Yeah. And you know what, Eric? I remember before when I was even a child, I was since little, and every time I see plane, oh my God, I feel, kind of scared because, what if, because I heard about the war story and what about now? If you see they send how many 56 warplanes and flying somewhere there, I would be scared.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah,
I mean,
come on. Yeah, when you see warplanes flying towards your country, what are you going to think? And China's like, we're just out flying around. Well, okay. So, are they going to start a war? I don't put anything past China, but I think they're trying to see how much they can get away with before the United States intervenes.
Yeah, it just for me, they're giving a warning.
Yeah.
That, hey, just a warning, but you know what?
Look how many planes we got.
One, I will just be ready, just in case. Anyway, let's go to number 2 question from Sophia of Quezon City. Why did whistleblower Francis Hodges of Facebook come out, and what is the truly global misuse of Facebook? Explain.
Well, yeah. Okay. So it turns out that a giant corporation is choosing profits over the safety of its customers. Oh my God. Okay, so can you believe that, Lolly Tolentino, that a giant corporation would choose profits over safety?
Yeah.
Anyway, so this woman who worked for Facebook Civic Integrity, she came on 60 Minutes last week and spewed a river of insider info on Facebook. And, first of all, it's bad for teen girls because, stuff FB posts on their feeds, they get they know what gets teen girls to watch it, and they know what's going to get them depressed. And so that's what gets them to keep watching it. And then they get depressed and they have eating disorders and et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But here's what it really does. what Facebook is doing, according to this woman, they have algorithms. This whole company is run on algorithms. They're not people making these decisions. It's computers making these decisions based on what was written by a human being. But anyway, it sends out information. It has found that it's easier to make people angry than to make people happy. So the more they make you angry, the more you stay on their application. People like political news, even if it's fake or false, more than a cat with a bag stuck on its head. So a cat with a bag stuck on its head is funny and it makes you happy, but it doesn't keep you on the app like false political information or information about the vaccine. So, which makes you share, and then you watch more ads, and the more ads you watch, the more money they make. So even though the information on it may be wrong or, written not to give you the info, but just to make you angry, FB sees that info to keep you online as the most important thing, because that keeps you looking at ads.
Okay.
So
that's really for profit if they do that.
Yeah. And look what Facebook has done. Remember back when Facebook helped the Russians during the 2016 elections? They sent information all over the place, and, we're paying for it. Jump ahead to the 2020 U.S. elections. Facebook put all kinds of safeguards in to stop the Russians from, infiltrating the U.S. election, on election day. And then when election day was done, they're like, okay, election's over. Let's get rid of all these safeguards. And that's what they did. And then what happened right after that? Well, there was a giant insurrection on the Capitol of, Washington, D.C. And a lot of that was perpetuated by what they called the big lie. And the big lie was basically invented on Facebook. And Trump supporters, filled Facebook with all these made up stories about how the election was stolen and the Capitol was stormed on January 6th. If Facebook was not around, or if Facebook had kept those safeguards in place, would the Capitol have been stormed on January 6th?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, and let me just reiterate. WhatsApp was a great messaging platform because it was safe. It was very, very secure. So what did Facebook do? They figured out a way to take over the company and buy up all the stock. So now they have it. So the same thing happened with Instagram. Anybody that comes with a great company, Facebook has, a quadrillion amount of dollars in the bank, and they can buy up anybody. Should Facebook be able to own anybody who is their competitor? If a competitor comes up and has a better product, should Facebook be able to allow to buy all those companies and then do whatever they want with them? And then I'll let you. Should Facebook be able to allow to sway elections? Now, I'm not going to go into what I thought happened in the last Filipino election, but in the United States, Facebook had a huge amount of influence in the election. They have the influence to be able to stop part of the world from taking a vaccine. They have the power to manipulate history. Facebook knows, they know what we like, they know what we buy, they know where we live, they know who our friends are, they know what we like to eat. And the question I have is, should they? Should they be able to know all this stuff and be able to use that stuff to sway an election or to stop people from taking a vaccine?
Well, you know what? A lot of people believes on whatever they see in the Facebook, whatever they read.
Welcome to the Philippines.
That's why all the misinformation that we have against the vaccine are from Facebook, all the social media. And number one is Facebook, because, everybody, if the people are not as smart as we are, they will easily believe what they see in the Facebook. That's why I am very disappointed with even some friends that, they just keep on sharing some, using the word stupid information, which they don't even filter, they don't even fact check if the information is true. So that can really, somehow help, some politician, especially, our election is coming up next year. So it will help no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I think is disconcerting is that Facebook sees that you saw some disinformation and it saw you share that disinformation. So what it does is it floods your Facebook list with tons and tons of disinformation or from things that are like that. And so because it knows that that's what you want to see, that you love seeing that, and it makes you angry, and it makes you look at it more. And so that's where they stick the ads that it thinks that you want to see. So you keep on and so it's basically manipulating the minds of the world and changing the discourse of the way countries think and the way they vote and how they do things. And so should Facebook have that power?
In a way, yeah, they have that power because, they can really influence. And these people who are not thinking right or not thinking properly, they are very easy to manipulate.
Yeah, I mean, it starts making you think about the machines taking over, like those algorithms, like becoming alive themselves. And so they end up taking over Facebook. And then we end up going to Facebook and finally getting into the doors and open up and find that there's no people working there. But anyway, all right, that's another movie that for Netflix. So anyway.
Okay. All right, Facebook. We are, using you. We're thankful that you're there, but you know what? I don't want to be part of the problem of your company. But
yes, thank you for showing the World News Jam.
Yeah, let's go to Gigi of Mandaluyong. What do you think of Pope? Moment of shame after he speak out of Catholic Church sexual abuse report.
This report came out and showed how 330,000 children were abused at the hands of pedophiles in the Catholic Church. Is that shameful? Yeah. I mean, it happened over a span of 70 years, and it was no secret in the church. I mean, we all know this. This is not new news. It happened between 1950 and 1970, and then it had a resurgence again in the 1990s. So the Pope came out and said, hey, this is a moment of shame for the Catholic Church. So I applaud the Pope for that. He said, I would like to express to the victims of my sadness, my sorrow for the trauma that they have suffered, and also my shame, our shame, and the church's inability for so long to put this at the center of their concerns. So, this basically is looking at most of these reports, because I did a little bit of looking up on this, young boys between the ages of 10 and 17, and many of their lives, have been harmed forever. And these things keep coming up. It hasn't stopped. There was a trial just as the Pope was speaking. They were doing a trial. Sex will forever be tied to the Catholic Church. I don't see if there's any other way out of it. Outside of the church, if you do this kind of thing, you're a criminal. But however, having sex with a child in the church, somehow it's different. If it's a priest, it's like not a crime somehow. So, it's incredible irony for the church because they say that God wants us to be good and they're not good.
Yeah. And, to add to that, because even before they talk about this, because, it is, it's like a vow or whatever you call it before you become a priest, because you are not allowed to get married, right? You should have that vow not to, engage into. But through the years, like you said, 70 years ago, sexual, abuse has been happening. And, that's why they say, why don't they just change the rules inside the Catholic Church that, even the priest can get married, have family like any other church. So, so to avoid this sexual abuse thing, this is a story long time ago. And I don't know, but
let them have sex, or else they're going to do bad things. It's human nature. Priests are human too.
Yeah.
I'm not.
That's
that,
what they
by,
say,
that
why
is
not allow
no.
them just to, be
I'm
married?
not trying to let them off the hook here, so to speak. But I'm just saying that they're. Right now there's a lot of attention on it, so I think priests would be less likely to try it now. And now we have lawsuits and we have all these things that kids didn't have back in the 50s. Mm-hmm. So
the kids are the victim. Yeah, they have the psychological problem now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, the Catholic Church. What would Jesus do? So anyway, what else we got there, Lolly?
All right. Okay. Let's go to Imer, Batangas. Why do you think scientists took 50 years to rename a tropical fruit Manu? And what benefits can human get? What do you know about
You know,
this, Mr. Lecain?
what an interesting story. I love some of the questions that we get because it was in 1973 when a scientist stumbled across this weird looking tree in the Amazon rainforest, and it was very interesting because it had these like paper lantern shaped fruits on the tree. So he took some samples back to the lab, but no one could figure out what it was. They couldn't classify it. They couldn't figure out. So, for 50 years, they tried to figure out where this thing was coming from. And so last week, they think they figured out the secret behind this Chinese paper lantern fruit, which is actually from Brazil. And it's in the Manu Park there in Peru, which is where it gets its name from. But just really quick, some background. One of the scientists in the 90s was really bugged by this because nobody could figure out what this thing was. They boiled it. They took photos of it. They couldn't pin down where this fruit came from. So finally, they got a grant. It takes money. So they got a grant to find out what this plant was. But the problem was that the plant was dead. It had, it was 50 years old. It all dried up. They didn't have anything. So they sent this guy out to find another one. And he, searched and searched for years, whatever. Finally, he found another one. He brought it back in. They studied it. They did a DNA analysis. And they said, you know what? This has got to be contaminated. Because it can't be from this family of plants. It just can't be. It doesn't look anything like it. So they sent it to the New York Botanical Gardens to be studied. And the scientists there said the same thing. It must be. And then they took a closer look at these tiny, tiny little flowers that were on it. And they said, you know what? That's where it comes from. And I can't pronounce the classification of where this plant comes from. It's this long scientific word. But they're able to pinpoint what family it comes from. And so now they can say, okay, now we know what this plant is.
Oh, okay.
Massively.
Kind of interesting. I saw the picture of that also. So like, it's pretty, kind of pink, reddish type of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
It's pretty cool. I mean, they say that there are tons of plants in the Amazon rainforest that have never been discovered. And sometimes they've never been discovered and they go extinct. I don't know how they know this. How would they know that they haven't been discovered if they're already extinct? I don't know how they figure that out. But anyway, they're saying that there's a lot of plants that they have yet to discover. And they want to stop, the killing of the rainforest so they can classify all these plants before they all go extinct. But anyway, the mystery of the Manu is found.
Okay, Manu. Okay, I don't like the Manu. I like the money.
Give me the money. Show me the money. Anyway, show us the next question.
All right, the next question is from Manolo, Quezon City. Why is Tesla paying an ex-employee of $137 million? Wow.
Okay, well, it turns out that Tesla, the place that makes the electric sports cars, is a racist company. Who would have thought? Anyway, they told an elevator operator who was black to go back to Africa. So they told him to go back to Africa, and for that man hit the jackpot because he took him to court. He'd only worked there for a year, and he took him to court in San Francisco, and the San Francisco court awarded him $137 million.
Ooh, lucky guy.
Yeah, part of the reason he's lucky is he did not sign the agreement that said that he cannot sue Tesla for any kind of discrimination, which they do. They make people sign documents to say that they won't sue them. So after working, Tesla came out and said, of course, they don't agree with the verdict. And they said, they may not be perfect, but the facts in this case do not justify $137 million. But man, tell me to go back to Africa. I'll sue you too. Although I've never, I'm obviously not from Africa.
Why do you think the court decided to ask for, pay $137 million?
That is something that I looked at because that was a question that I was asking. What justified them to pay this guy so much money? He only worked there a year as an elevator operator.
9 months, I think.
Yeah, I mean, okay, give him something because they told him to go back to Africa and they did some racial stirs and I think the N-word came out a few times. But $137 million, that is just,
Set for life.
he's not just, he's not just set for life. I mean, his lawyers are set for life. I mean, that was a monumental discrimination lawsuit over something that is bad, but not like, he got killed. Like they beat him to death in the elevator or something, they took him out and hung him by his neck. Okay, then you're never starting to think about millions of dollars. But I don't know. It just seems a little excessive, but, there you go. Sometimes being an elevator operator and being black pays off.
Yeah, maybe I should go to the States and work for somebody also. And
yes, so you can sue the Lolly Tolentino.
Just kidding.
Going to
anyway, okay, let's go to Fidel of USA. Why NATO's expel members of Russian mission? Allegedly, they are an intelligence officer. Any clue?
Yeah, well, okay. All right. So NATO has their group of people from every country and their headquarters, and Russia had a mission. They sent people to NATO to work there as part of the military alliance. But there's certain rules that NATO has, such as you can't send spies to work in the NATO office. So that's, one of the rules. So, Russia sent spies and they found out and they said, you can't do that. So, you can't send a spy to spy on them. So they booted the Russians. And then they reduced the number of Russians that could even be there at any time. So Russia, of course, is not thrilled about this, and they claimed retaliation. But, does this surprise anybody at all? Of course, Russia and NATO are not friendly at all because Russia rolled its tanks into Crimea. And, there's never that you can't take that away. You can't erase that. So it seemed like there was some meaningful dialogue coming from Russia with NATO, but now this shenanigans has happened again. And it's not like it's a big surprise. Russia has been asked to leave several countries for doing just this. And, every time that Russia gets kicked out of a country, then they throw the people that are in their country out. And this same song and dance happens over and over. I mean, the United States has expelled multiple Russian diplomats for espionage and election interference and cyber crimes. Once they got Trump out of office, they've been able to stop a lot of that secret spy stuff coming from Russia, all these things that have been going on there. So, yeah, I mean, that's what, first thing they're saying, you have to tell us if you're sending spies. Who's going to tell you that they're sending a spy to spy on you?
Nobody. Why will I tell
not Russia.
Eric, if I send you a spy, why will I tell Eric I'm sending you a spy to spy you? Yeah. I will not say that.
Anyway, so there you go.
Anyway. All right, let's go now to Nino Pateros. Okay. Can Trump really prevent investigators from getting information? Scared? Update, please.
Okay. All right, let's do a political swan dive into this pool of I told you so. Many people in Congress believe that Trump might have been in part in the planning of the attack on the Capitol. Yeah. Anybody surprised about that? So, no. So we're assuming that somehow he was in on it. But now Congress wants to know for sure what really happened. Who organized this attack on the Capitol, and how did they get all this information? And this whole attack on democracy is the biggest attack in the United States government in 100 years. So they just released this document this past week, this scathing document about the big lie. That's what it's called, the big lie. As Trump says, he really won the election and we need to take back our government at any cost. Now they're trying to find this information out. And so how are they going to find it out? I mean, Trump's not going to tell them. So they're going to the National Archives, which logs everything that Trump did, everything that he said, everybody who he sent a message to. All this stuff is owned by the United States, and now it's in the archives. So Congress wants it. So they subpoenaed all this stuff. So what Trump is trying to do is he's trying to send in his lawyers and say, you can't take this stuff and you can't look at it. Okay, why not? And so he's trying to claim executive privilege. And they've tried to subpoena his buddies, all the guys that he was in contact with during this whole insurrection, and to see what they said and to see what their role was in. And so Trump is telling them, before, when Congress would send you a subpoena, you better come, you better go in, or you're, in super trouble. And then Trump got to be president, and so they started sending out subpoenas, and he's like, hey, you don't have to go. In fact, I'm ordering you not to go. And everybody's like, well, what? You can't do that. And like, I'm doing it. And so we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to. So now they've made subpoenas for some of his buddies. Say, listen, you got to turn over these documents that they already know that they have the documents. They already know what the documents say, but they're trying to get them to turn it over. And so Trump is telling them, hey, don't do it. Don't help them in any way. We'll send in our lawyers and so forth. And so Congress is, he's claiming, well, we have executive privilege because I'm the president, or I was the president. And so, but it doesn't work because he doesn't have executive privilege because he's not the president anymore. Yes. Joe Biden is the president. So when they asked Joe Biden, does he have executive privilege? Do you want us not to go over? Joe Biden's like, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Send out the subpoenas. So they sent out the subpoenas. So see Steve Bannon, who says, I'm going to defy the subpoena because Trump told me not to. He may be going to jail.
Ooh, okay. Wow.
So
interesting.
There you go. I mean, it is interesting. It's interesting how this is going to play out, I have to say, because, I could go on and on about what that document said that the Congress released this week. And we are finding out so many things that happened during this insurrection that we didn't know of before. People that were in on it, people that planned it, people that told people where other Congress people were and how to get to them. Some really bad stuff. And of course, Trump doesn't want this to come out, but it's coming. I don't see, what he'll do is he'll send his lawyers in and they'll drag it out. That's what he can do. He can drag it out and make it longer, but I don't think he can stop the inevitable.
All right, let's wait. Exciting again. Trump is back in a way. Okay, let's go to Renato Makati.
Trumpers.
What did a U.S. submarine hit? An underwater object in the South China Sea. Anything exciting or scary?
Well, here we go again. Something's always going on in the South China Sea. Every week we got something. Yeah. And this week, the United States was going for a stroll in a massive nuclear submarine through the China Sea, and it hit something. And it hit something really big. And, of course, everybody speculated that it was another submarine. But they're saying that that's not the case. There's a thought that maybe it was a sunken ship or maybe it was a giant container. But a security expert from Singapore came out and said it was, by the damage that was done to the submarine, it was something incredibly big. And the submarine was going really fast. So the question a lot of people are saying was, why was this nuclear submarine there? Why was it going so fast? And it hit something so hard that 15 servicemen were injured when it hit it. And of course, China is now saying, well, we want to know, we demand to know, because they're in our waters, which they are not really in China's waters, because those waters are not China. Those are international waters, even though China says that it's theirs. It's not really. But there you go. In 2005, a U.S. submarine hit a mountain, an underwater mountain, and a sailor was killed. So I don't know, Lolly Tolentino, what do you think?
I need to find it myself. I want to go and see what it's the object in South China Sea.
Here's what I think happened. I don't, did they hit another submarine? Did they hit a mountain? They hit an alien spacecraft. That's what I think.
Ooh. Okay.
Like in that movie, The Abyss.
That's why it's not. Yeah, that's why it's not out yet. What's really in it?
Yeah,
right?
They're going to hide that information. Underwater alien spacecraft. That's what it was.
Okay.
Or Godzilla. That's what I'm saying. I'm sticking to it.
Let's go there, Eric, and find out. Okay.
Our information on the show is only factual.
Okay. Let's go to Jeff of Manila. Who do you think? Oh, this is now an exciting, question. Who do you think would be the frontliner on the May 22 election? Lots of nuisance candidates filed already. A circus type of election. What do you think?
A circus type election? Really? You think so?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. Let's take another dive here. The big news of the week is Sarah will not run. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. By the way, I was at the event when Duterte said, under no circumstances will he run for president. So everybody was waiting for this day in October, and this day in October came and it went. Who's running? De La Rosa is running. Why is he running? And let me just tell you, didn't he just come out and say that he's running just in case Sarah decides she wants to run? He will drop out so she can run. Isn't that basically what he said this week? So anyway, all right, very quickly, let's take a list at who's running and the circus that may ensue, as this person was saying. You got your Bong Bong Marcos, son of a murderous dictator, blah, blah, blah. Moriano, the actor, Manny Pacquiao, the boxer, De La Rosa, the policeman, Lenny, the wife of a beloved politician. And who's the front runner out of all these people that are running for president? Sarah Duterte, who just this week said she's not running for president. There you go.
Well,
I didn't list all the candidates. There's like 50 candidates. There's a whole bunch of candidates who already claim that they're running. That doesn't mean they're going to let you run. But right now, the front runner is Sarah.
Yeah, the one who doesn't want to run is the frontliner. So anyway, we still have November 15th in case there was
Of
be a
course.
substitution.
Substitutions.
So we will wait for that. But
Just like
you
a
know
basketball
what?
game.
My point here, if Sarah will not run, really, if she will stick with her word that she's just going to finish her third term as a mayor of Davao, I will give her my two-hand salute for sticking to his word. So, but I need to wait till November 15 if that's going to happen. For now, all right. Before we do, so we still have a lot of questions here. Let's go to Junie.
We got time. We got a little bit of time here, but this question that this person had, who's going to be the front runner? Let me ask you something. So Moreno, he's like the middle ground candidate. He won't be somebody that people are embarrassed to say that they're supporting, and he claims he's the healing president. So a lot of people are starting to look at this guy, and just to answer the question of the person. Lenny is running now. All of a sudden, she hit her candidate. She's the toss-up candidate because she's going to run, obviously, as the anti-Duterte, anti-Marcos candidate. She's going to be the one to clean up the mess of Duterte, and she'll fix all the problems caused by Duterte, or maybe she'll be the next Corazano Aquino. Who knows? But here's, just really quickly, for Sarah to say that she's not running when she is at 28% polling, who else is it going to be? And we can get into this with, Bong Bong Marcos. It's his big chance if she doesn't run for president. This is because he's polling at 15%? So he's in second place, I believe. So this is his big chance, to forget history, at least in the Philippines. But for all the people that love Bong Bong Marcos, and we go through every candidate, I can talk about every single one of them. For all the people that love Bong Bong Marcos, and there are a lot. There's a lot of people that love him. The people that hate him really, really hate him. And there's some groups out there that are vowed to make sure that he never will become the president here. But, Bong Bong Marcos has something that a lot of other candidates don't have. He has money. He has a lot of money, and he has troll armies, and, he can do a lot of these things just like Duterte did before. So I just, I just wanted to make sure that we answered her question as about, what we think. But anyway, so now I'm assuming the next question, because we always end on political questions, I'm assuming the next question is going to be something political as well.
Yeah. All right. So, because this is all kind of related questions. So, we have till May of next year to talk about all these politicians. So we will give more information about what we will know. Anyway, all right. From Junie of Davao. Do you think Sara Duterte should run as president or vice president? In case she will, who should she join among party?
By the way, today, Ali, I'm wearing a yellow shirt. And it's only because I didn't do laundry. It really has nothing to do with any political affiliation. I don't even know what the yellow is. Anyway. Okay, should Sarah Duterte run for president or vice president? Why? Why should Sarah run for vice president? She's polling number one for president. she's in the driver's seat right now. I mean, I commend her for saying she's going to stick to her guns and finish out the mayorship there in Duterte. But she's polling higher than anybody. I mean, way higher than anybody for president. And she has all these alliances that her father made with the mayors and the local politicians. And, Duterte, owns one of the biggest troll armies ever in the Philippines. I mean, she has a lot of stuff going behind her. And I think that, if anybody, she's saying, well, she should be the vice president of Bongbong Marcos. No, actually, I think that she should be the president. Bongbong should try for vice president again, because I think that she has a better chance of winning than he does.
Okay.
A lot of people are going, should we write something bad about Eric now? But I mean, you're looking at 28%. I mean, she's almost double the numbers of Bongbong Marcos, and she's triple the numbers of people like Lenny, Manny Pacquiao. So I mean, a lot can happen. A lot can happen between now and May. But I'm just, saying, should she run for president or vice president? I don't know. What would you do, Lolly Tolentino, if you're polling 28% for president? I think I'd probably want to run for president.
Yeah, well, because the question is, if should she run as president or vice president? Of course, everybody would say, go for presidency, because with all the rating that she's getting. I mean, but now it's a different story. Well, like I said, let's wait till.
I mean, she's a likable candidate. People like her. I mean, let's wait and see. She hasn't been on the center stage yet. They haven't put her up in the middle of a debate and let her speak. She's not her father. I don't think she's not going to say the outlandish, crazy stuff that her father says. But she is a likable candidate more than. Look who else we got running. Yeah, I mean, Manny Pacquiao, I don't think he's going to win. I don't think he's even going to be a contender. Lenny is just not popular. I mean, I think, Lenny is a good candidate. She's a good, solid candidate, but, is she popular enough? And Bongbong Marcos is incredibly popular and also incredibly unpopular. Sarah Duterte is a very, very likable candidate and a very capable person of winning this election.
Okay. And, I asked several people about this issue, just like me. And, I always say that I don't like a woman to be the president. It depends what personality. So, and you know what they say? If it is, they don't like Lenny, they find her, kind of weak type of woman. All right, we know that. But if it is Sarah, or even they say the senator who's in jail, Dilima, that kind of personality. I mean, that's what they say. No, this is not me. This is like people, because we need to ask people about their opinion. It's not just our opinion. So they say, the very likable, like you said, likable person that who can really win, who doesn't have much issue, is Sarah, and she's very much, because she's also in public service, so she understands. Though she's a lawyer, and her husband is a lawyer, and there's so many things that she
that
can
doesn't mean anything in politics if you're a lawyer.
Yeah, I know. We know how politics work.
There's a video of Sarah punching a guy. People like that. People like that kind of stuff.
2 years ago, yes, because she's tough. She's a tough woman, and it was so funny. I was even laughing at that after she punched the guy, and he said, "Okay, take him to the hospital." It was like, okay, that's funny.
This is something that, and I said this last week. I said, it'd be hilarious if this comes down to Sarah Duterte versus Lenny. But one thing that Lenny is going to have to do, and a lot of people like Lenny. She's a good person, and I've said this before. Good people don't win elections, but she has to overcome this one word. She has to overcome weakness, because Duterte has kept her in the hole the entire time she's been vice president. He hasn't let her out, and he took her off of everything, and he pushed her down, and so she looks weak. And if she can overcome that in the next 6 months, then she has a chance to move in the polls. That's what I think I keep saying that over and over that I think the two front runners. I mean, right now Sarah says she's not even running for president. I don't believe that, but that could be true. But like I said, I mean, there's a reason why De La Rosa is all of a sudden running for president.
All right. Okay. Let's just go to Pastor Ed question.
Okay, Pastor Ed.
Pastor Ed waited really till afternoon before he sent this question because do you think Bongbong Marcos has the upper hand now that Sara Duterte stuck to her mayoralty candidacy and the opposition obviously divided?
Well, I mean, all right. Okay, a lot of people have said, and I believe this as well, that they both need each other in order to win. That Bongbong needs her because she has the South, and she needs Bongbong because he has the North. And we know that elections are not decided by Manila. Elections are decided by the province. And, Marcos has his own hill to climb because people hate him. I know he's not the son of his father, but, Bongbong has brushed off history and has vowed to change history multiple times. And it gets closer to the election, people are going to be pushing that, never again line. Every time he comes up, they're going to have big giant signs that say never again. And, meanwhile, the world's going to be doing a face plant if it looks like he's going to win. The world already has right now a dim look at the Philippines because of the Duterte administration. So could you imagine if the son of Marcos wins the presidency? I mean, people were shocked when he got so close to winning the vice presidency, in the world, because they look in and they see this like it. But honestly, if they put those two together, if they put Sarah as president and Bongbong as vice president, I think that could very well be a winning team. But if Bongbong is going to run for president, which he says he's going to do, then he's got to get over some stuff. He's got to get past a couple of things that he is going to have to deal with. His conspiracy that there was cheating in the last election, that he got a degree from Oxford. The documented, recorded, and repeatedly factual, validated information about what his father did. He's got to get past this. And if he does, and like I said, people think, well, since Sarah is out, that now it's just Bongbong against everybody else. And I don't think it's going to play out that way.
Okay. Again, based on the, talks to people, because I'm the one doing the survey over here in Metro Manila. So now, okay. Their opinion, okay, if Sarah really will not run, okay, because we still have November 15, right? If she will, but there's a law that we need to follow, okay. Most likely, Sarah will just endorse Bongbong Marcos.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's very possible. And the question is that, upper hand for Bongbong, and they said yes, because whatever they talk about, because now the people are really, I don't know how many percent now are saying that, okay, if the kind of campaigning will be like what other are already, they started like saying, oh, we don't want Marcos to be back, we don't, things like that. So, and they don't want that anymore. They want, if you are talking about healing the country, you should start yourself by doing so. Like I heard what Lacson says, they're not going to talk about anybody. They will just do their own, tell the people what they plan to do in case they win. So I think that's a very best strategy.
Yeah, that is never going to happen. That is not going to happen. This is the Philippines. That's not going to happen.
I know. But at least somebody's saying that, right?
Even I mean, it's great. Yeah, we all say that, but does anybody do it?
Yeah, we need that. Okay, so now people are thinking like when I was even surprised when Moreno says, okay, he was referring about Leni Robredo, but okay, look at her. She even abandoned her own party, supposed to be the liberal or the yellow. Now she's pink. So they have this kind of talk. So I was like, it was funny when I was hearing all the story. And, what will happen later on? She will just she's saying about healing, and she's the one who doesn't want Marcos to be back in power. That's not the that's not the way how to heal or unite the people of the
No,
country.
that's how to win
We're already,
elections.
you
You know, that's how to win elections. I mean,
Yeah, I know,
during
I
an
know. We
election,
know
it's
that.
not about healing the people. It's about winning. And you
Yes.
tell me that Bong Marcos is going to do everything possible in his power with the money that he has and the troll armies that he has behind him. He's not going to do every possible thing he can to hurt every single candidate. Of course he is. I think this election is going to be, as dirty as the last one was. And I mean, you have to look at what the facts are going to be. First thing, you got the pandemic. That's going to be a huge factor in this election.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that 52% of the people voting in the Philippines are young. They're young people. And people didn't understand in the last election what an impact young people are going to have on the election. And when Duterte ran, he saw that. And the people that he had, doing stuff for him on Facebook knew exactly how to get at those people and get those people out to vote and get them to vote for him. And so these are the people that live and die by Facebook. And we keep talking about Facebook, but Facebook wins elections. It won the last election, in my opinion, in the Philippines. So, the fact that we're all talking about healing the nation and coming together, man, when it gets down to February and March, just, see the mud start slinging. I mean, it's going to be, I think it's like the person said, it's going to be a circus atmosphere. Especially, but it's going to be see who's going to come out of it in the end. And there's probably going to be two candidates. That's what I hope. I hope that it's two candidates. I hope it's not 5 candidates or 6 candidates and they're all there debating together. I hope it comes out to be really just this person versus that person.
Yeah, I know, but that's because of the multi-partisan in our political system. That really made this like a circus. Now, how many aspirant do we have now? Okay, based on my record, 97 aspirant for president. How crazy is that? 29 for vice president, 170 senator, and 270 party lists. Where did you find that before? I never, it wasn't like this before. So this is crazy. So this is really a circus. I know the Comelec will just eliminate one by one. They will just check on the candidate. If they're nuisance candidate, they will be out. But then, just to look at that.
I mean, speaking about getting eliminated, right now, Lolly Tolentino, unfortunately, we're about to be eliminated because we're out of time. We always get out of time when the conversation gets good. But anyway, we're about to be eliminated. But Lolly Tolentino, we are going to be back next week. And guess what we're going to end up talking about, I'm sure? The election. Oh, yeah. So everybody just stick around till next week when we're talking about the election. But thank you to all the people that wrote the questions in this week. They were great all over the board, all kinds of interesting stuff. Lolly Tolentino, thank you so much. My name is Eric Lecain here at the World News Jam on DZRJ and RJ TV. We'll be back next week. So please join us then and be safe out there. We'll see you then.
The views and comments